You suddenly sat up from the bed. Your head felt like it was hit by a heavy hammer, and the severe pain made your eyes go black for a while. Before you could recover, a cold mechanical voice came to your ears. You have been a vegetable for 10 years, and now you are still 6 months away from your death in the plot. What? You widened your eyes and looked around in disbelief. The white word and the pungent smell of disinfectant were all terrifyingly real. When you had a car accident, it was when Lu Jingjuan was at his most destitute, but loved you madly. After you fell asleep, you became the eternal cinnabar mole in his heart. But now you have woken up, and Lu Jingxuan has already achieved success and stood at the top of the world. You look at yourself, like an unnecessary shadow. You move your eyes to the end of the bed. Lu Jingxuan's eyes were red, and his voice was trembling and whispered, "Ollie." Upon hearing the news that you woke up, he directly abandoned the ongoing international project meeting and rushed all the way to the hospital. You looked at the secretary at the door again, biting her bloodless lips. She looked like a poor creature whose candy had been taken away. "Ollie, do you?" Liu Jingchuan stretched out his hand carefully, as if you were a glass doll that would break if touched. You nodded, pointed your finger at the door, and looked puzzled. "The girl at the door looks like me. Is she my long-lost sister?" Liu Jingchuan's hand froze instantly. The girl hiding at the door took the initiative to stand up. She forced a smile. "Hello, Mrs. Wu. My name is Lin Yuxuan, and I am Mr. New Secretary." Before she finished speaking, Lin Yuxuan finally couldn't help it and ran away crying with her mouth covered. "Yuxuan!" Lu Jingxuan subconsciously shouted and wanted to chase after you, but then he remembered that you were still there. "It's okay. You are so generous that you can hold the whole universe. There must be important work between you. Go after him." Liu Qingchuan stared at you, and his dark eyes seemed to have a storm, so complicated that people couldn't understand it, but he finally chased him out. Looking at his back, your heart trembled a little bit, and you raised your hand and grabbed the little boy who was playing games beside the bed. "But you are in trouble. Are you the male protagonist who forced the heroine to jump off the building this scary and dig out her heart in the future?" Your expression was as ferocious as a demon. "Did your father give you a growth guide according to the criminal law?" The little boy whose ears you twisted was as beautiful as a fine porcelain doll. He slapped your hand away. "Old woman, let go." You were stunned at first, then sneered, pulled out the needle, got out of bed and grabbed the weapon. "The hunting time has begun." You slept for 10 years and only had a long dream. You seem to be reading an absurd novel, and your son Lu Yu is the cold-blooded and ruthless male protagonist in the novel. Because his mother died early and his father doted on his stepmother, Lu lacked love. Since childhood, and his personality was twisted like a twist. In the name of love, he tortured the heroine to death and performed a real-life version of chasing life to the crematorium. You cursed for 10 years in your dream, and it is estimated that the king of hell was troubled by your noise. Maybe you cursed too hard, and you who should have died in the novel suddenly woke up. There's only half a year left before you die in the plot. You have a hunch that you are like a fly trapped in a spider web, unable to break free from this predetermined fate. And you still have to get the lunchbox you deserve. You sighed. "Well, then you stay 6 months to try to get Liu back on track," which can be regarded as a big gift from you, the mother-in-law to the future heroine. Chapter 2, The First Confrontation with His Son. So, when Liu Jingxuan rushed back to the ward, he saw you with one hand on your waist and the other holding your shoes, and Lu Yu sobbing in the corner with shoe prints all over his little butt. Liu Jingxuan stood at the door for 2 seconds, as if he was cast into a spell. Seeing his father, he turned his face away stubbornly, but the expectation in his eyes could not be hidden. He expected his father to rescue him from you, a crazy woman, but he was destined to be disappointed. Liu Jingxuan didn't even look at Lu Yu, and walked straight to you, holding you barefoot in his arms. Liu Jingxuan carried you to the bed, his eyes full of heartache. "Ollie, you just woke up. Your body is still very weak. Just call a nurse." In the corner, Lu Yu's black eyes darkened little by little, and the little hand hanging by his side clenched into a fist. "Yes, yeah." pushed Lu Jingzhuan away, jumped off the bed and hugged Lu Yu into her arms. I just want this. Lu Yu's little body stiffened and he looked up, his face full of disbelief. That expression was like seeing a ghost. Lu Jingzhuan, is this how you treat my son for the past 10 years? Treat him like air and ignore him? You became more and more angry as you talked. You still have the nerve to pretend to be infatuated in front of me. You only enjoy the process of giving birth, not taking the responsibility of giving birth. Do you think you are a stud? Lu Jingzhuan was stunned, completely unable to adapt to the fragile item, in his mind suddenly becoming a hedgehog attacking him. Mrs. Lu, please don't say that. At this time, Lin Yuzhuan rushed in with tears on her face. Mr. Lu works hard for you and Mr. So he sometimes ignores Mr. Lu, but Mr. Lu often drinks until his stomach bleeds and works overtime until late at night. I see all this. She took a deep breath as if she had mustered up her courage. Madam, what I say next may offend you, but I still want to say it, Mr. Lu has been struggling alone for the past 10 years, and you are just lying here easily. You still must understand, Mr. Which is really, really heartbreaking. You raise your eyebrow when a man's talking flower. Lu Jingzhuan stared at Lin Yuzhuan with surprise and emotion in his eyes, as if he saw Lin Yuzhuan's unique heart for the first time through her skin that was similar to yours. As for you just lying here easily, Lin, guess why I got into a car accident and became a vegetable? Guess whose life I risked my life to save? Lu Jingzhuan's face turned pale, and he lowered his eyes as if he felt guilty. But Lin Yuzhuan was still unwilling to admit defeat. She argued, but it has been 10 years. Even if you saved Mr. You can't keep blackmailing him like this. Why am I blackmailing him? You waved your hands tiredly. You are a person who speaks without thinking on logic. You are simply wasting my life. Nurse, get this person away. She polluted the air around me. Ollie, how can you? Lu Jingzhuan frowned, not understanding when his gentle and lovely Bai Guang turned into such a shrew. And you treated everyone equally. Stop talking nonsense. And you get out too. Lu Jingzhuan finally laughed. Although he didn't get angry when he left, his eyes were full of disappointment. You don't care. You carry Lu Yu to the bed and rub his head. Son, what game were you playing just now? Lu Yu was very embarrassed by your slap and give sweet date operation. It took the opportunity to jump out of your arms and picked up the game console. Fantasy War, you can also play it on the computer. You said... Lu Yu's ears turned red, and he commented in a pretentious and cold manner, "It's just a thing to kill time." You twitched your mouth. This domineering CEO's words really are like father, like son. It's just that you are only 7 years old. Starting to kill time from now. Don't you think you have too much time and are a little bored? Thinking of this, you pressed the call bell and asked the caregiver to bring you 2 high-configuration computers. What are you going to do? Lu Yu looked at you vigilantly, like a kitten with its first ending on end. I'm just spending time with you. You spread your hands. Your mother needs to stay in the hospital for observation for a while, so I can't just stare at you like this. The nurse brought the computer and host, but there were not enough sockets. Unplug my oxygen supply machine. You waved your hand casually. No, you subconsciously stopped him. You couldn't help but feel relieved. This kid is completely heartless. Then you got out of bed and unplugged your oxygen supply machine yourself. Don't ask. The old mother's rebellious period has arrived. Chapter 3. Conflict in the game world. After the game is installed, Lu Yu logs in directly to continue his task, while you start to create an account under the guidance of a novice. This large-scale, online game called Fantasy World War has 4 major races: humans, demons, monsters, and gods. Humans can cultivate immortality and become demons. Demons are known for their powerful military force and have various strange skills. Monsters are good at transformation on natural forces, and each has hundreds of professions to choose from. Gods are mysterious and powerful, and are legendary in the game. You are dazzled by the choices and ask, "Son, what species are you?" That's not called species. There you stared at the screen with At that moment you actually saw the word handsome on the face of a 7-year-old baby. He said, "I am a demon and my profession is Shadow Blade. I have the fastest speed and the strongest burst." Shadow Blade? It sounds awesome. You praised him and gave him a hairy chestnut. Don't roll your eyes when talking to people. Simtolite. What are you doing? Luyu covered his head and turned his head away. His hands left the keyboard, and the shadow blade he controlled was immediately killed by the monster. Luyu pursed his lips, looking angry but not able to speak. "I'm sorry. I won't hit you again when you fight next time." You apologized immediately and added, "We'll settle the score after the battle." Perhaps because he had never been cared about by someone so much, Luyu was stunned for a long time, turned his head and responded awkwardly, "It's okay. In the end you still chose the human race, which looks the most simple, and planned to take the path of cultivating immortals and healing. And you just completed a task in the novice village. And before you had time to hand over the prey to the village chief, you were ambushed by a level 10 player nicknamed Novice Plunderer. Game over." Looking at the screen covered with blood red, you couldn't help but scream. "What's wrong?" Luyu was startled by your scream. Then you saw a novice plunderer on the screen picking up the prey that fell out of your character's body and making a mocking gesture. You were so angry that you clicked the resurrection button frantically. "I was intercepted in the novice village, and he is still dancing next to my corpse." Luyu didn't say anything after hearing this. When you recovered from the resurrection period, you saw a huge monster chasing the novice predator, frantically hitting critically with every move and squatting at the resurrection point. The novice predator was killed until it dropped to level 1. The level 16 diamond named Night Walker left his body and walked to you. A line of words appeared on the huge demon horn. "Night Walker, go dance." You didn't react at first until you saw Night Walker dancing a mocking dance next to the corpse of novice predator. You were dumbfounded, slowly turned your head to look at Luyu, who was standing next to you with a tight face and slowly raised a thumb. "Awesome, you deserve to be the male protagonist." You suddenly understood why the female protagonist was tortured to death, but refused to leave Luyu. "Some flirting talents are really in there, because you are really bad at it." Luyu simply takes you on a mission, and gradually loses himself in your boasting of, "My son is great. My son is so handsome." And the small arc at the corner of his mouth can't be suppressed. At the end of the day, with Luyu's Shadow Blade paving the way, you directly went to level 12. When Luyu helps you kill monsters, you concentrate on refining pills, and your alchemy skills have reached level 5. But you still think it's too slow. So you just wave your hand and spend money to change your Lu. Use game characters from head to toe into Krypton gold outfits. Joke. I may be a little worse in other aspects, but I am not short of money. Lu Jingjuan's startup capital depends entirely on your dowry, and Lu Jingjuan's connections also come from my mother's family. If you can't afford it, you can naturally take it back. The reason why you didn't divorce Lu Jingjuan immediately was that you wanted to leave all the undivided property to Lu Yu. So no matter whether the secretary named Lin Yuge was really in love, or had the ambition to pick up the fruits of victory for free, she made a wrong decision. Just when you were distracted for a while, the computer screen in front of you was covered with blood red again, and you were killed again. Except for the Krypton gold equipment that was not stolen, the elixir you worked hard to refine for a day was all picked up by the 4 monsters. "Oh woman, why are you in a daze?" Lu Yu was helping you with the task. When he turned around and found that you were killed, his tone became angry. "First I'm your mother, not an old woman. If you don't want to call me mother, you can call me sister or a lie. Respect is the premise of communication," you said calmly. "Second, you owe me a hairy chestnut." Luyu came to help you get revenge. The 4 demons didn't expect that you still had such a strong bodyguard. They were no match for Lu Yu at all. They hurriedly opened a private chat to beg for mercy and said that they would return your pills. But Lu Yu ignored their pleas for mercy. His moves were still fast and fierce, and every move was a killing. They found that Lu Yu especially liked to use a big move called Shadow Kill, which instantly cut the opponent into countless pieces, and blood splattered everywhere. The scene was bloody and very impactful. You turned your head to look at Lu Yu and saw that his mouth was straight, his eyes were clear, and his operation was without any mercy or hesitation. This child is too calm, or rather, he can't empathize. He didn't stop him immediately, but just stared at Lu Yu, waiting for him to kill until he was satisfied. Maybe because your presence was too strong, Lu Yu didn't take turns to kill the 4 people this time, and the 4 monsters left after resurrecting saying, "Wait for me, bitch. I'll find a gang to take turns to kill you," and teleported away. You haven't figured out the game yet, so you ask Lu Yu, what is a gang? Lu Yu's face darkened. It's a small group. People above level 15 can apply to join a gang. Those people just now are from the Fantasy World Alliance. The gang was established not long ago, but the president is very powerful, so it prospers very quickly. That means we're in big trouble. You understand? Then, son, have you joined any gang? No, Lu Yu showed disdain. Those mediocre people don't deserve it. It's a bit awkward for a primary school student to say such a thing, but when you think about it, he is the male protagonist in the future who will not blink an eye when digging his heart and lungs. Everything makes sense again. Thinking that you were afraid because you were silent, Lu Yu added awkwardly, "Don't be afraid. Generally, the president is very busy and has no time to help people avenge their personal grudges. Unless the president encountered something unpleasant today and needed an outlet to vent." You looked at the immortal cultivator president named Yi Chen-ju Yang, and the demon spirit deer named Yu X in your hand beside him, and fell into a brief contemplation. Isn't it obvious that it is Lu Jingxuan and Lin Yuxuan? Good man, this world is too small. Just finish the battle in real life and have to fight online. Yi Chen-ju Yang, are you the ones who are going to whitewash our Fantasy World Alliance? You were drinking water, and when you thought of Lu Jingxuan saying such a second-tier word with his face, you couldn't help but spit it out. You X in your hand, you guys are going to fire. And level 16 bullies a few level 15 guys. Lu Yu typed on the keyboard inferently. Nightwalker, oh so what? You wiped the water from your mouth and glanced at Lu Yu. He didn't seem to realize that the fairy couple in front of him was his biological father and his future stepmother. You thought about it, but didn't expose it. You just took another sip of water, and the wall of the cup hit your teeth, and the echo rang clearly in your mind. 10 years ago was when Lu Jingxuan loved you the most, and it was also when you loved Lu Jingxuan the most. At that time, you were simply crazy about him, loving his island, his appearance, his talent, his soul, and his devout and passionate love for me. So much so, that when the out-of-control car rushed toward you, your first reaction was to push him away. You pushed him away, and fell asleep. In the dream that you couldn't wake up from, you helplessly watched him and the so-called stand-in, entangled and finally got married. Love, hate. But no matter how much love or hate, 10 years is enough to wear it out. Your heart is quiet now, surprisingly quiet. It's as quiet as a frozen lake on a winter night, and no matter how the wind and clouds in the sky are rolling, it can't stir up a ripple. Only Lu Yu. He is the little fish at the bottom of your lake. You don't regret bringing him into this world, and you also want to send him off for a little longer in your only life. Being stared at by you, Lu Yu frowned, and his black eyes glanced at you and then looked away. Old lady. Don't keep picking at me. When they start to attack, you should run away. Do you hear me? You say... Lu Jingxuan's half-immortal is level 84, and even Lin Yuxuan's spirit deer is level 46. Don't you think you can run away? As expected, as soon as they started, Lu Jingxuan and Lin Yuxuan cooperated tacitly. Lu Jingxuan's killing move directly attacked Lu Yu, and Lin Yuxuan immediately cut off your retreat. However, you and Lu Yu have a better tacit understanding. Lu Yu took Lu Jingxuan's attack, and you ignored Lin Yuzhuan's attack and quickly threw pills at Lu Yu to recover blood. At the same time, Lu Yu dodged and dadded 3 combos to kill Lin Yuzhuan instantly. The situation instantly became 2-1. Lu Jingzhuan was obviously startled, and then he sent you away with 1 move, barely saving face. You turned into a corpse in front of Lu Yu, and Lu Yu was not moved at all, and took medicine to heal himself. In front of the screen, his pair of black eyes were clear and calm. The real fight began. Lu Jingzhuan, a level 84, should have crushed Lu Yu, a level 6 Dinxin, but Lu Yu played the advantages of the demon clan to the extreme, with an unconventional sword and swift and cunning, and he could fight Lu Jingzhuan for half an hour with low blood. You simply asked the nurse to bring snacks, and you ate melon seeds while calling it exciting. Of course, the level gap between the two was there, and the miracle did not happen in the end. Lu Yu was killed by Lu Jingzhuan. Demon corpses lie in front of the human race, who are like exiled immortals, like a black hill, and the silent deterrence rushes across the screen. After enjoying the father-son game, you still interview Lu Yu about his feelings after the battle. Son, what do you think of the strength of the man named Yichen Zhuying? Lu Yu took back his hands from the keyboard, expressionless. Average. Beautiful. You were very pleased with Lu Yu's fatherly love and filial piety. You feed Lu Yu a handful of melon seeds. What about your mother? Super bad. Lu Yu tried to avoid your feeding, but you still stuffed a mouthful with a smile, blocking his filial son's words. As early as when Lu Jingzhuan brought people to question the crime, many people came to watch. Now that Lu Jingzhuan killed Lu Yu, the people of the Fantasy World Alliance cheered and flattered him, saying, "The president is mighty." The 4 demons before were even more crazy and clamoring, asking Lu Jingzhuan to take turns to whitewash you and Lu Yu. But Lu Jingzhuan did not do anything. Contrary to everyone's expectations, he waited for Lu Yu to revive first, and then extended an olive branch. Yichen Zhuying, you have some skills. Why don't you join our Fantasy World Alliance? I will forgive you for what happened to my subordinates before, and I will also bring your talents to the extreme in the Fantasy World Alliance. You raised your eyebrows. With Lu Jingzhuan's temperament and vision, it's no wonder that he was able to transform from little Lu to President Lu in 10 years. And Lu Yu's cheeks were full of melon seeds, and he typed without thinking. Dark Night Walker, no. Lu Yu's refusal immediately angered the crowd. The people of the Fantasy World Alliance scolded Lu Yu for not knowing what was good for him. He was just a defeated general under their president, and he dared to refuse their invitation from the Fantasy World Alliance. Seeing that the atmosphere was about to become tense again, Lin Yuzhuan stepped out to mediate. She walked towards your game character. You ex-senior Anne, sister, I think you are also a newcomer. Would you like to join our Fantasy World Alliance? If you choose the Immortal Cultivation and Healing System, our guild will provide you with medicinal materials and resources for free. Cute smile. System, player you ex-senior and invites you to join the Guild Fantasy World Alliance. Do you agree? When this invitation appeared on the screen, you were holding a handful of melon seeds in your hand. You wanted to put them down but couldn't bear to do so, so you simply freed up a little finger to control the mouse. Click, agree. System, player, Liu joins the Guild Fantasy Alliance. Liu swallowed the melon seeds and frowned at you. If you clicked the wrong button, you can apply to withdraw from the guild. No, I didn't. You threw the melon seeds in your hand and clapped your hands. It's hard to collect medicinal herbs, so you can get them for free if you join the guild. It's a waste not to join. Besides, if you join the guild, you can also follow the latest 2 or 3 things the domineering president and his cute secretary have to say on the spot. How exciting. You swallowed the last sentence silently and smiled sarcastically, because as soon as you joined the guild, you saw a new golden logo on Lin Yuzhuan's head. President's wife. You looked at the president on Lu Jingzhuan's head again, and always felt that you should also have something green on your head to suit the occasion. Lin Yuzhuan twisted her graceful deer figure and made friendly gestures to you. You ex-senior and president's wife, welcome to our big family wink. Our big family. This wolfish ambition is really obvious. You tap the keyboard. Liu, 6. Liu, who was chewing melon seeds like a hamster, choked suddenly understood why you named him Liu, because Liu is right about everything. Lin Yuxuan on the other side of the game seemed to choke a little, and she turned to Liu. UX Senior and Brother Dark Knight Walker, you see your girlfriend has joined the Fantasy World Alliance. You should join us too. Heart. Now it's your turn to be choked. Dark Knight Walker, brother. Let Liu go. He's only 7 years old. I don't know if it was because of Lin Yuxuan's brother or the little heart expression that made Lu Jingxuan jealous. He made a hand-holding gesture towards Lin Yuxuan. You can do Yin Yuran. Since he doesn't want to join the Fantasy World Alliance, you don't have to beg him so humbly. Oh, you're reluctant to let him go. Excuse me, are you two also a couple in real life? Hearing you ask this, someone from the Fantasy World Alliance answered. Lila, no, our president and his wife are both in online love for the first time. It's just like elementary school students falling in love. Oh my god, it's so sweet every time. She, hoo. Welcome to join our Fantasy World Alliance. There is enough dog food here to make you full dog head. I searched. I heard that our president is a big CEO in real life. It's really like the domineering CEO falls in love with me, has come into reality. I'm dizzy sexy. Lin Yuxuan seemed to be embarrassed by everyone's jokes. She took the initiative to let go of Lu Jingxuan's hand and pulled away again. You ex in your hand? Not really. Mother Yi and I got married only because of the system reward. We haven't met officially offline yet, pointing fingers. And Lu Jingxuan just quietly pulled back the distance with Lin Yuxuan. He didn't say anything from beginning to end, which was considered as tacit consent. Good guy. This amount of information will make your brain's CPU burn. In other words, Lu Jingxuan and Lin Yuxuan in the game don't know each other's true identity. Yi Chen Tu Ying Jing Shi Xuan Lu Jingxuan. Using Yu Ren Yu Xuan Lin Yuxuan. Are these two really stupid or just pretending to be stupid? It's so obvious that you can't tell. You pointed at the screen in disbelief. Son, take a closer look at their nicknames. Do you recognize who they are? Liu Yu frowned and looked at them for a while, impatiently said, There are so many people playing this game. How can I recognize two people at random? They were relieved immediately. Even Liu Yu, the little male protagonist, couldn't detect it. This is probably some kind of irresistible force of the plot. But if Lu Jingxuan found Lin Yuxuan as a stand-in real life, and the two of them obviously had feelings for each other, and in the game Lu Jingxuan and Lin Yuxuan acted out their fake play, and treated each other as strangers on the internet. You figure out, how many love triangles are there? A pink mushroom. Hey, I just saw that the official seems to be organizing an offline meeting. Won't we be able to meet then? Funny. Fulgurant. Yes. Then I can support the offline CP of the president and his wife. You immediately went online to confirm that this large-scale meeting organized by the official Fantasy World War will be held next month, and the location is not far away by car. Refresh and go. Even if it rains knives from the sky, I will go. The CPI support is finally going to meet in person 555. Let Lu Jingxuan and Lin Yuxuan meet offline. There is such a good thing. With the mentality of watching the fun and not minding the big things, you immediately started to encourage. Liu, if the president and his wife come on the day of the face-to-face meeting, I will let the Night Walker join the Fantasy World Alliance. Night Walker, Liu asked a question and turned to look at you with a fierce face. Why do you use me as a bargaining chip? You couldn't help but reach out and rub his chubby face. Oh, because you are cute. Liu blushed, pursed his lips and turned his head, his fingers reluctantly tapping on the keyboard. Night Walker, do as she said. This also gave Lu Jingxuan way out. Lu Jingxuan finally spoke and agreed to participate in the offline face-to-face meeting. Lu Yuzhuan also expressed that she would attend on time. So Liu agreed to Lu Jingxuan's invitation and officially joined his father's Fantasy World Alliance. Liu's strength is obvious to everyone. His joining is to inject a super strong combat power into the Fantasy World Alliance. The 4 demons who shouted for revenge knew that they were in the wrong and shut up according to the situation. The atmosphere in the guild was harmonious for a while, and everyone was looking forward to the face-to-face activities next month so that they could see what their teammates who fought side by side with them looked like. You watched everyone praise Lu Jingxuan and Lin Yuzhuan, calling Lin Yuzhuan President's wife and President's wife, and a smile appeared on the corner of your mouth. It was a pure smile, the kind that didn't even bother to mix in sarcasm. Yu saw you smile and suddenly felt unhappy. You seemed to care about those 2 people. Yeah, you admitted generously. It's like watching a joke or a serialized one. Lu Yu hung and turned his head away, saying in a low voice, "You might as well look at me more than you look at them." Oh, what? You deliberately made a gesture that you didn't hear clearly. Look at who more? Lu Yu was embarrassed and annoyed and got up to leave. You pulled him into your arms like a monkey trying to catch the moon and stretched out your hand to scratch his waist. Jiggy Ji, tell me what you mean, otherwise I won't let you go. Lu Yu froze at first and broke down, trying desperately to hold his cold face, but failed, twisting and turning and laughing, until tears came out. I'll tell you. You gave up and put your hands under Lu Yu's armpits to prevent him from cheating and running away. Speak. Liu panted heavily, his face red like a small tomato. You. Instead of looking at them more, why not look at me more? I'm your son? At the end, Lu Yu simply closed his eyes, looking ashamed and angry as if he wanted to kill or cut him. Couldn't help but laugh sincerely, leaning over to kiss his forehead. That's right, don't whisper about love and don't keep it in your heart. Think about it. If you don't say it today, I will die tomorrow. Will you feel regretful? Just realizing what the touch on his forehead was, Lu Yu's ears were just burning, and he heard your ominous words behind him, and immediately glared at him. Shut up. I bent your knuckles to give him 2 hairy chestnuts. I owed 1 before, plus 1 now. Can 2 hairy chestnuts make you remember to speak properly? Lu Yu ignored the pain in his head and glared at you stubbornly. I don't allow you to say that. You won't die. What nonsense is. You couldn't help but laugh. Your mother and I are human. People will die. This is the law of nature. Lu Yu's body straightened, his little fists clenched, and he acted like a child for the first time. I don't care. You just can't die. You were stunned, knowing that your previous analogy was too much, and scared Lu Yu, a child who had just escaped from loneliness. Okay, you held out your pinky finger and softened your voice. I promise you, I will never die in the next 6 months. People are very fragile, but also very tenacious. Let's make a pinky promise. Lu Yu's eyes were slightly red. He muttered childish, but still hooked your pinky finger with his hand. Pink. Don't change for 100 years. Wait, why only half a year? Lu Yu realized it later and hooked your finger tightly. You rubbed his head hard with your other hand, rubbing his soft black hair into a chicken coop. Because Mom's magic is limited, it can only predict half a year at present. As for half a year later, maybe Mom's magic will become stronger by then and can predict 100 years. Just lying to the child. Lu Yu let go and tittied his hairstyle, complaining on his mouth, but finally smiled on his lips. A month passed quickly in the game. During this period, Lu Jingzhuan also came to visit you many times, but you asked the nurse to turn him away. He thought you were secretly sad in the house and were angry with him, but he didn't know that you were actually playing games with Lu Yu in the house. After being treated coldly by you, the so-called white moonlight, Lu Jingzhuan had to transfer his love to the game, to the gentle, considerate and irresponsible UX in Yuan in the game. In this way, one is in love and the other is willing, and the ambiguity between the two quickly escalates, to the point where a dog passing by would burp and leave. Sometimes you would take screenshots to keep as evidence, but most of the time you would still feel it was too hot to walk away, concentrate on refining pills, leveling up and spending money. Soon, you used your money ability to level up to level 79, and became the first person in the entire service area to have full-level alchemy skills. Many rare pills can only be successfully refined by you, so some people are even willing to buy them from you with real money, and many people have the wrong idea of killing and robbing. After more than 20 outstanding birds died in succession, everyone knew that the alchemy god named Liu was always accompanied by a 104 level demon named Nightwalker, who was ruthless and vindictive. As long as you dare to touch Liu, the Nightwalker will chase you all over the server like a mad dog. Because of the Force first, courtesy later, the Fantasy World Alliance you belong to also expanded rapidly, with the number of people soaring from a few hundred to thousands, becoming a large gang at the top of the list. Everyone admires the strong, and with your free crypt on gold behavior, your position in the gang is obviously going to overshadow Lin Yujuan, the president's wife. Lin Yujuan also seemed to have a sense of crisis, and she wanted to chat with you many times, but you refused. After all, you have already talked to her in reality, and you know that her self-proclaimed righteous dog mouth can't spit out any ivory, and you don't want to waste your happy game time. However, one day when you woke up from your nap, you saw Liu staring at the computer screen with a fierce look on his face. You yawned lazily and got off the bed. What's wrong? Sick again? Because you think you may only live for half a year. You have not told your parents and brother who are far away overseas about your awakening, and you don't want to disturb their life of grief. For some reason, Liu Jingxuan did not announce your awakening. So the myth says, Liu to the outside world is still a vegetative person, lying in a private hospital, living in people's filter like Sleeping Beauty. In fact, the real you has moved out of the hospital a long time ago, bought a luxury villa, and moved in with Liu Yu, and then decorated the bedroom into an esports room, and lived a shameless life with games from then on. Liu Yu still has to go to school, and you never have to worry about the self-discipline of this little boy. When Liu Yu was in school, you asked a senior power leveler to help him maintain his account. Today is the weekend, so Liu Yu is at home. You leaned over to look at Liu Yu's computer screen, and Liu Yu tried to block it, but you pulled it away with one hand. Then you saw a hot post on the official forum of Fantasy World War, with a terrifying title. Shocking, goddess turns into a slut. The master of alchemy Liu is actually a shameless mistress. Your sleepiness instantly disappeared. Mistress. Who? You? You married you strong TSK. Sound and tried to cover your eyes? These are just slanders from trash people, nothing to see. I know. You grabbed his hand, but knowing yourself and the enemy will win every battle, and I, your mother, I'm not that fragile. You pursed his lips and remained silent. You scrolled the mouse and read it at a glance. This hot post is very long, with pictures and truth, and the remarks are extremely misleading and inflammatory. The summary is that after you joined the Fantasy World Alliance, you had been secretly seducing the president, Yichen Zhu-Ying, and relying on your power and influence, you took the lead in isolating the president's wife. You X and you ran. The picture here is you rejecting Lin Yujuan's chat in public. Lin Yujuan's gan character just bowed her head and drooped her ears, looking particularly helpless and pitiful. Scrolling down to read the comments, the incited crowd sympathized with you X and you ran and cursed you. Many people said that you are cheap, hungry, and pounce on men when you see them, and said that the money you spent on Krypton gold may have been earned from sleeping. In short, the curses are as bad as they can be. Liu couldn't bear it anymore, so he reached out and closed the webpage with a snap, lowered his eyes, bit his lips and remained silent. You softened your heart and squatted down to look Liu in the eye. Let me guess, you are thinking that you failed to protect me, and you feel angry and guilty. If it were the Liu of the past, he would have kept silent and would rather keep his thoughts to himself than speak them out. But after a month of your guidance, Liu gradually dared to show his inner thoughts, so he nodded slowly. Once his inner voice was opened, Liu Yu's eyes could not help but turn red. He was unwilling and even more wronged, feeling wronged for you, and also wronged for himself for not being able to immediately think of a way to help you get rid of this wrong. No matter how talented Liu Yu is, he is just a child after all. You rubbed his head to encourage his honesty, and let Liu look up into your eyes. It's good to have a heart that cherishes others, and it's even better to want to protect important people, but you also have to know that I'm not a vase. I have my own abilities, you can trust me, and I need your trust more than your self-blame. Liu listened in a daze, then nodded firmly. You smiled with relief, son, endure ovarian cysts for a while. Take a step back for breast hyperplasia. Do you know what the strongest slap in the face is? Liu Yu shook his head in confusion. The strongest slap in the face is that you don't make a fuss, let alone make a scene. You just stand there elegantly, and everyone will help you slap in the face. Although the post was manually deleted less than 2 hours after it was posted, the number of views before the deletion had reached tens of millions, and almost everyone who came to the Fantasy World War meeting the next day knew about it. The official of Fantasy World War is also ingenious, customizing exclusive headbands for all the players present, with a flashing card on top, showing their nicknames like the characters in the game. Therefore, when everyone saw Inyushwan with, on her head, everyone gave her warm sympathy and greetings as the president's wife. In addition, Lin Yuxuan's image in the game is a charming type with a protruding front and a curved back, while she herself looks pure and lovely, with a lovable student spirit. The contrast made all the male players in the audience unable to move their eyes away. When Liu Qingxuan, the CEO of Ding Shen Group, appeared on the stage, everyone's eyes swept over the 4 words on his head, and the whole audience burst into screams, pushing the atmosphere to a climax. Amid the screams, Liu Jingxuan only had Lin Yuxuan in his eyes. The two looked at each other and saw the nicknames on each other's heads at the same time. At that moment, there was surprised understanding, and a feeling engraved in the soul rushed into the vortex of the heart. It turned out to be you. It turned out to be you. Wan resembles you. Wan is better than you. The two of them couldn't help but smile at each other, as if their souls were already tightly embracing each other. The people around them screamed in shock and began to whisper to each other frantically. What kind of fairy love is this? The domineering CEO novel has come true. But I heard that Mr. Liu has a family background. His wife is said to be a young lady with a super background. I remember his wife became a vegetable after a car accident. It's been many years. She must have died or divorced long ago, right? There's nothing we can do about it. She's already a vegetable. We can't stop her from running towards a better person. I know his wife's name is Guli. Before the accident, netizens called her young lady. I've seen her photos. She looks very similar to you, Zinyaran, but has more temperament. She's a beautiful woman with a short life. Because the mobile phones were taken away by the authorities, people could neither verify online nor take photos. So you can imagine that when Liu Jingxuan and Lin Yuxuan were sweet and everyone was anxious. You, wearing a Liu headband, lead Liu Yu, wearing a Night Walker headband, to the stage. Just one glance, the whole venue was like a bomb was thrown into it. Thug, 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 thug. The Night Walker who tortured me to death is just a primary school student. Wait. Isn't that the eldest lady? If she is Leela, then the real mistress is. In the midst of fierce noise, you narrowed your eyes across the crowd and aimed at Liu Jingxuan's instantly pale face. That look was even worse than him encountering a ghost in the middle of the night. As for Lin Yuxuan, she was so scared that she knelt down. The people around her immediately scattered like a plague, leaving her kneeling in the middle of the awkwardness. You smiled and asked Liu Yu, "How is it? Is it nice to slap someone in the face in such a civilized way?" Liu Yu snorted arrogantly, normally. Listen to my explanation. Lu Jingxuan's face was pale. He trembled and reached out to get closer to you. His steps were floating. Just at this moment, Lin Yuzhuan, who was kneeling on the ground, suddenly vomited. She vomited a lot, and her hands instinctively protected her stomach. Everyone present was an adult. Of course, Lu Yu was an exception. But even Lu Yu, who is young, saw the problem at a glance. She's pregnant, Ryu announced coldly. You raised your eyebrows and glanced at the dumbfounded Lu Jingxuan. Is this your explanation? Lu Jingxuan's eyes were blurred, and he finally fell to the ground in a mess, losing all his energy. TSK, it's so dirty. You wrinkled your nose and walked back with Lu Yu. Come on, Mom will take you to the playground. Lu Yu didn't even look at Lu Jingxuan. He no longer had any expectations for this nominal father, and just held your hand tightly. I will reluctantly accompany you to play. After a crazy day at the playground with Lu Yu, you still felt sore all over when you got up the next day. You walked to the living room in your pajamas, rubbing your sleepy eyes. There sat Lin Yuzhuan, who had been waiting for 2 hours after you called her. As soon as you entered the living room, Lin Yuzhuan's already straight back straightened even more, like a strong grass that was not afraid of the cold. You lazily lay on the sofa, and the nanny brought you a cup of black tea of the right temperature. You sipped the black tea slowly, and clearly saw Lin Yuzhuan's Adam's apple swallowing up and down after refusing to drink a sip of water for 2 hours. You put down your teacup, took out your checkbook, wrote something on it with a pen, and then tore it off and slapped it on the table. And Lin Yuzhuan seemed to have been waiting for this moment. She grabbed the check on the table like a hungry tiger and tore it into pieces. Give up. No matter how much money you give me, I will not leave Yuzhuan. The love between Yuzhuan and me cannot be measured by money. Lin Yuzhuan proudly puffed up her chest. I am different from you. I never valued Yuzhuan's money. We are true soulmates. You said. Go and date another snack brought by the nanny. Irritated by your indifferent attitude, Lin Yuzhuan covered her stomach with one hand, her eyes red. I know you are just pretending not to care. You love Yuzhuan, but even in the game, Yuzhuan and I will be attracted to each other's souls. The person Yuzhuan really loves is me. You can't get his love, you are just jealous of me. Lin Yuzhuan stepped on the broken checks on the ground with a victorious look and laughed happily. You want to humiliate me with dirty money and force me and the child in my belly to leave Yuzhuan. But you are dreaming. I, Lin Yuzhuan, am not like you. I will not be moved by money. Even if Yuzhuan is a beggar, I still love him. You swallowed the small cake and were quite speechless. No, you think too much. Why should I give you money? Look at what is written on the check yourself. Lin Yuzhuan was stunned, looking down at the check at her feet with a weird expression. For words were clearly spelled out on the messy check. A pile of defense. Lin Yuzhuan's face turned green instantly, as if she had really stepped on a pile of feces. Just then, Lu Yu came into the room wearing a small apron, holding a plate of freshly baked cookies, and sighed helplessly. Ollie, you are so childish. You clapped your hands and went over to pick out a piece of unburned cookie. Okay, anyway, you won't listen to anything I say to you, so let your soulmate tell you in person. After that, you completely opened the half-closed door, revealing Lu Jingxuan, who seemed to have aged 10 years overnight. After all, although she was emotional just now, she didn't say a wrong word, and it could even be regarded as another kind of passionate confession. However, Lu Jingxuan didn't look at her. He just stared at you pleadingly. Ollie, I was really drunk that night. I thought she was you. You picked up another burnt cookie and poked it into Lu Jingxuan's mouth. Stop talking nonsense. I will keep Ding Sheng's funds frozen until this mess is solved. Lu Jingxuan spit out a mouthful of coke, but didn't dare to spit it out. He couldn't swallow it. Finally, he remembered that he had a biological son to ask for help. He called out incoherently, "Hey." But Lu Yu interrupted him coldly. This family doesn't need an illegitimate child. If you can't solve it, then this family doesn't need a father. This is so cool. She couldn't help but applaud Lu Yu. As if he had suffered a heavy blow, Lu Jingzhuan's body swayed. His face flushed, and he seemed to feel angry and unwilling. In the end, he only felt heartbroken and desperate. The man who was once so confident and shining, now dejected like a fallen leaf in the autumn wind. You were too lazy to watch his performance, and directly gave the order, Lu Jingzhuan, I will take my son to the household registration center to change his surname. When we come back, if you have done this, I will consider keeping you in Dingsheng. Hearing this, Lu Jingzhuan's eyes lit up again, as bright as a dog wagging its tail for mercy. He rushed into the house decisively, rushed to Lin Yuzhuan, who was still moving herself, and stepped on the pile of broken checks almost fiercely. From a distance, your laughter came. Nothing, you just laugh at everyone who stepped on the defense of the support. As the mother of the male protagonist who died at the beginning, your name is a random name given by the novel author, but at least you like this surname very much. Lu changed his name to Guyu from then on, and the domineering flavor became stronger. Before this, you always thought that Lin Yuzhuan was scheming. After all, she directed and acted in the rumor post herself. It turns out that she had known that Lu Jingzhuan was playing Fantasy World War, so she created an account and pretended to meet Lu Jingzhuan by chance in the game. You thought Lin Yuzhuan was thinking of getting something for nothing by marrying someone, but the result was unexpected. She was really a pure love-minded person. Lin Yuzhuan sincerely asked Lu Jingzhuan to resign and elope with her, saying that she would marry him, even if Lu Jingzhuan became a beggar. Yun Guyu looked back at the surveillance in the room, and when Lin Yuzhuan described the future of you begging by serving bowls, with a happy face, Lu Jingzhuan's expression was so ugly that he looked like he had eaten shit. You also thought that Lu Jingzhuan had a white moonlight in his left hand and a cinnabar mole in his right hand, and he must be driven crazy by his love. As a result, Lu Jingzhuan did not hesitate, half coaxing and half forcing Lin Yuzhuan to go to the hospital for an abortion. You turned off the surveillance, closed your eyes, and felt a strong sense of sleepiness for no reason. It was like the ice on the lake cracked open, and the coldness of the clouds penetrated into it, freezing the sadness even deeper. Just at this moment, a warm touch covered the back of your hand. Mama, Guru looked at you uneasily. He held the back of your hand and opened his mouth, nervous and unfamiliar to the point of making your heart ache. You were stunned, and then your eyes became hot, yeah. Yeah. Ma. Yeah. No. Yeah. Yeah. You cried. Like a real child, he finally dared to cry unscrupulously in front of unconditional love. Ma. You called over and over again like a baby bird waiting to be fed. You also answered over and over again. Each one was serious and attentive. He cried so hard that he couldn't breathe, and he held your hand tightly, as if he was holding a dream of redemption. I love you so much, I love you so much, thank you. Thank you. You cried too, and your tears seemed like ice melting on the lake. I heard that God cannot be everywhere, so he created mothers. Since time is running out, you should explain 3 things first. The first thing, Lin Yuzhuan ran away. Lu Jingzhuan coaxed Lin Yuzhuan to have an abortion, but Lin Yuzhuan regretted it at the last minute and ran away with the baby. Lu Jingzhuan was so anxious that he asked about Lin Yuzhuan's ancestors in the hospital. The scene was so ugly, and you were not surprised to hear this news. The force majeure of the novel is there. It would be strange if the illegitimate child who plays an important villain could be aborted. Don't worry, Mom. Guyu held your hand tightly, his eyes firm. I'm here, I won't let her affect us again. You nodded, feeling mixed emotions. The future male protagonist has spoken, how dare you say anything? The second thing, Lu Jingzhuan was sunk into the sea. The news of the Fantasy World War fan meeting that day was spread out, and your parents and brother overseas came immediately after learning about it. Tied up Lu Jingzhuan and wanted to sink him into the sea to vent your anger. But due to the force majeure of the novel, Lu Jingjuan must live until Guyu reaches adulthood in the plot. So he sank, and then floated up, sank, and floated up again, up and down, and finally he was taken back to overseas by her brother who was engaged in scientific research to do human experiments. It's really redundant. This can be regarded as a new way to take revenge on a scumbag. The third thing, you start to feel sleepy again. You sleep longer and longer every day, and even the best doctor can't do anything, because of the force majeure of the plot. Half a year is almost up. You have lived a very chic life in the past 6 months. The only regret is that you can't go further with Guyu. And Guyu has also grown a lot in the past 6 months, but he still lacks empathy and essence. You slept for a whole day and night, and finally came up with a solution. So, son, in the future, before you treat someone, you should first judge whether the person has a mother. If you think so, then think about whether her mother will be sad if you treat her like this. But if the person acts like she has no mother, then don't be polite. Guyu understood and took note. So that night you had a dream. You dreamed that Guyu and the heroine met and fell in love. Their relationship was healthy and warm. There was no longer the tragedy of chasing his wife to the crematorium, but a happy ending. You woke up with a relieved smile and found that it was just dawn. Guyu was lying beside your bed, his little finger hooked with your little finger, and his face was full of tears. You looked at his sleeping face softly, and suddenly remembered that a long time ago, he also broke into my world with his eyes closed. Such a small pink ball actually tripped you up for a lifetime. You couldn't help but sigh. Fortunately, there will always be someone who will ignite the fire in your heart. Guyu woke up at some point, and his eyes secreted tears because he was not used to the light, but he still stared at you persistently. Can that person be Ma? You were stunned, looked at the bright and beautiful sky outside the window, and finally smiled and drugged his head. Your story is about to begin. Mom's magic disappeared. Mom only exists in the past. You close your eyes and feel like you have had a very long dream. The lake in the dream freezes and melts, and the clouds in the sky roll up and stretch out. Finally, you dream that you have turned into a small red fish. And when you open your eyes again, you are not anyone's wife or mother. If your life is still a novel, then you can only be you.